Kissing and hope they cut us, whether they like it or not. I wanna brag about it, I wanna tie the knot. I wanna show you all, I wanna show you all, I wanna show you hold my hand.
Hey Friends Clan, thank you for tuning in for another episode. Today I have a great treat for you guys. I will be interviewing someone very highly qualified in the topic that she will speak on. Her name is Secunda. Intrinsic, very eclectic name out there. She is a licensed financial literacy advocate. She specializes in life insurance. She's a broker. Also, she's just going to give some real good details about life insurance policies, why it's important in our community. She's also a health conscious person, so we're going to speak on that as well. And then she's going to give us some more information. She's also a mother. She's a business owner. So I definitely want my Friends Clan to hear from her. She's an awesome person. When I met her, we immediately connected, and like her information is so good. I vetted her. She checks out, and I just want to give this information to my Friends Clan. So stay tuned. Hi, Secunda.
Peace.
I want to thank you for doing this interview with me today.
For having me.
No problem. A lot of the services that you offer, I know in our community, in our Black community, even in the other Latino, just minorities in general, we don't know what's available to us, resources and things that we might not have been taught. So that's why I wanted you to come on here and kind of explain to the people what you offer, benefits of it, and things like that. And then we'll go into some other stuff, and it'll be fun, okay?
Okay.
I want you to relax. Good conversation. I know you're a little nervous. It's okay. We Friends Clan over here, babe. We got you, okay?
Absolutely.
All right. So, as I mentioned in the intro, you are a licensed financial professional. I'm going to just let you tell what you are. Who are you?
Peace, Friends Clan. I am Secunda Intrinsic, and I am a licensed financial professional. I specialize in life insurance products, credit restoration, everything financial. So, I've been doing it for the past decade, and I've been licensed for the past 7 years now.
Decade? Yeah, you only look like you're 22, girl. Okay. That's awesome. So in other words, you basically sell life insurance and other products. When you think of life insurance, we always think of the term policies or whole life or universal. Can you explain briefly what's the difference between the two?
Absolutely. So with life insurance, there's many different products that exist. That you mentioned, whole life is an older product that has been around for ages. Okay, our great grandmas. That's how I actually remember life insurance because she had a whole life policy. And so with whole life, that is a policy that covers you, as it mentions, your whole life. And so you also pay premiums on it your whole life too. There's not a lot of flexibility with it. It is a permanent policy. With this policy, it does have some cash value attached to it. And so that's pretty much just the whole life. And then the difference between that and then let's say term, with term insurance, it actually covers the person's for an actual term period. So it can go from 10 years to 30-year term. And so with this life insurance, it'll run out eventually at some point. It's not a permanent policy.
Okay. Thank you for breaking that down for me. So sometimes, people, they would say, do I really need insurance? Because we know that car insurance, phone insurance, I ain't gonna say it's a ripoff, but it's like you have car insurance just in case. You have phone insurance just in case. When it comes to your life, how would you correlate that?
Wow, that's a great question. So with life insurance, it's also a just in case because life happens to all of us, and it's not just only used for when a person passes away. It's just in case if you suffer from an illness, for example, a heart attack. We all know someone that's had a major heart attack or some type of illness that has kept them from being able to, do their daily living activities, right? And although these things happen, bills doesn't stop, right? But we're unable to still work. So because of that, life insurance, it's like those buffer space, if you will, to give us that protection, to keep money flowing in. So that's why I would kind of correlate the two.
Okay, that's a good perspective because I myself, I have a few insurance policies, and I never knew that you can tap into those policies while you're still living. Is that sort of like a living benefit type of thing?
Absolutely.
Can you go into that a little bit? Like, what, that's interesting because I'm not dead, but I got this $100,000 policy and I hit hard times or I got sick. and I can tap into that?
Absolutely. So as you mentioned, living benefits, that's one of the benefits of the newer policies. So with these type of policies, like you mentioned, if there is some type of illness, which is critical, chronic, or terminal illness, you can actually access the face amount of your policy while you're living, and you can access that amount tax-free. So they'll give you large sum of a check, okay, tax-free, that you can use, whether it be for your medical benefits, whether it be for recovery, for you to have someone to come in and help you at home, any of those things, it can be used for those type of things.
Oh my God, I did not know that. You speaking my language talking about tax free. So let me make sure I get this. So when you think of like tapping in, like if I have $100,000 policy and I had some kind of critical accident requiring me to be off for 6 months, those bills don't stop when every 6 months. I mean, every month. So you're telling me that there's a policy where I can access that money, a portion of it, to help me out in those 6 months.
Absolutely. What happens with these type of policies, it would just subtract whatever the amount that the insurance company provides you from the actual face amount. So yes, this again would be a tax-free check that would be cut to you. You can use the money for whatever you need to, again, while you're alive, because that's really what life insurance is, life insurance while you're living. So it's an awesome benefit. It's more of a newer policy type of benefit, because a lot of people, when it comes to life insurance in general, have death insurance is what I call it. So that can be a term policy that can only be used when I pass away, right? It will only benefit my beneficiaries. But again, this is something that most people have. And so what I like to offer people with these policies is something that they can use while they're living, because again, life happens. So whether, as you mentioned, whether it be a critical, chronic, or terminal illness, these policies, the money portion can be accessed to take care of these things that you still need to take care of financially.
Wow, that is amazing. That's like even a thing. I really appreciate how you're breaking it down to me. But what about the people, in our demographic, in our community, who really don't understand what you're saying? So what I want you to do is bring it down just a little bit for that person who doesn't know what life insurance is or doesn't know how important it is. That person who's out here doing things that probably is going to take their life or unalive them. They don't understand that a GoFundMe is not life insurance. Or you have those different people who just don't take it serious. How would you communicate that to them, the importance of it?
Okay. Simply put, to me, life insurance is an income replacement at the end of the day. It replaces the income should you suffer any type of medical challenge, should you suffer any type of disability. We all know someone, who has had those things that took place with them, and, they had to scrape, as you mentioned, as far as GoFundMe and, reach out for help financially.
Yeah.
We all know that our greatest asset is ourselves, essentially, being able to bring in the bread, to bring in the money, right? So if something happens to me, then I need something in its place so that I can still have that money flowing in. And so that's how I see life insurance. And I know oftentimes we downplay it. We'll get to it, when we get to it. But the reality is that life insurance is something that everyone needs, whether you do have children or not, whether you have a spouse or not, whether you just is a human being, because at the end of the day, I know for myself, I don't want my family going online begging for money to bury, right? Which is something huge in our community. And we see often, even celebrities that we would think have their affairs in order, we see that often, that people don't have these things in place. So the other thing that I will also mention is that with life insurance, it's predicated on 2-3 things. Your health, right? Which can change at any time. You are healthy today. You got a doctor's appointment next week. You go in and find out that you got something going on. What life insurance does is locks in that insurability. So that's why I always tell people to get that done ASAP. You're healthy, you're young, the lower your rates are going to be, the higher the probability for you to get approved. When you wait, then, there's a chance that you may get declined. So, or have higher rates. So I always tell people to get it. There's no money that's even due out of pocket when you go to try to apply for it. And oftentimes, depending on the company, you can actually get temporary insurance where it protects you and covers you while it's going through that underwriting process. So it's something that I think everyone needs, including babies. You can get it as young as 15 days old, because things happen to kids too. We don't want to think about it, but things happen to every one of us humans, and so you just want that protection in place for what if happened.
Right. Thank you. That is such a good way to put it, because we don't know. We don't have those conversations with our family members. We don't like to talk about death. We don't like to know, if I die today, will my kids be okay? We just try to sweep that under the rug. So it's good to know that we have this option. those resources. I think I remember you saying about your father. If you don't mind sharing that story briefly. He
Absolutely.
didn't have insurance, or I don't remember.
Yep. So when I got licensed 7 years ago, of course, I came to my family because I wanted to make sure that they knew what I knew and make sure that they had protection in place. Because, oftentimes if we are a person that's in our family that many people reach out to and lean on, then I'll be the person that if something happened to parents, for example, that they'll be looking for money, right? So I wanted to make sure daddy had something in place, mama had something in place, grandma and everybody. So when I came to my father, he said he had insurance. And in fact, he had whole life. And so he said his wife was taking care of everything. They're good. And so I said, Daddy, do you know what type of policy, like what all it includes? And he said, no, she handles all that. And so, okay. I didn't push it because I'm not a pushy person, So with that, a couple years ago, my daddy suffered 2 major heart attacks. Had to be resuscitated, and a stroke, severe stroke. Healthy man, okay? Work out daily. And so came to a surprise as most of this, these occurrences does for most people, especially if you're healthy. And so we called in to check on his insurance, and he did still have the policy in place, meaning that he was still paying his premiums. So it didn't lapse or anything, but we found out he didn't have any living benefits, meaning that he could not access that insurance that he's been paying for years on.
He's recovering.
Yeah, indeed. And that is really the benefit, the biggest benefit, I believe, of life insurance, right? Because again, it gives us options to be able to keep money continuously flowing in so that we can pay our bills, so that we can, have procedures that, maybe our other insurances that we have in place may not cover. And so we learned that he didn't have this in place. And in fact, it was a shock to me because I thought all whole life policies came with living benefits because that's all I sell, right? And so, but yeah, he didn't have it. And so because of this, with the recovery and everything, it was years for him to recover. I mean, he got better. He's getting better, but, income stopped. He can't work the way he used to. So how's he making it? Of course, he's making it, with the help of family and everything. But again, had the insurance been in place, this is that buffer that, would have been good to have.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I mean, I'm sorry to hear about your dad, but I didn't know that you can access your insurance. I know that you can have the cash value policies that you can borrow against, that living benefit piece of it. I didn't know that at all. So when you think of life insurance, you think of the different types: whole life, term, and I believe universal. I'm not sure. Can you explain the different types of insurance and what's the difference between them?
Absolutely. So there's really 2 different types of insurance. You have term insurance and then you have permanent. And each of those have different products that falls under there. Term insurance is generally for a specified amount of time. It can cover you from 10 years up to a max of 30 years. Okay. And so with term insurance, some of the older term insurances is complete death benefit is what I call it, meaning that it doesn't give you access to the living benefits. And so, but some of the newer term policies actually does have those type of benefits. And then also we have ROP, which is return of premium. And that is where you can get your money back from either paying so many years on a term if you outlive it. And so that is another policy that most people aren't familiar with. And then I will always say that with term life insurance, it doesn't have any type of cash value. So if you were to outlive that specified term, then the money is gone, but you did, just like car insurance, have it just in case. And so with permanent insurance, there's many different types. You have whole life, you have universal life, and you have index universal life. And so with the difference between the policies, with permanent policies, generally they do just cover you your entire life. It's permanent insurance, okay? Some go up to the age 100, most go up to the age 121, right? And then also with these policies, they do have living benefits with them, depending on the company and all of those things. But with permanent insurance, it also gives you some type of cash value. So a portion of the premium that you pay every month or even annually actually goes into a cash bucket that starts to grow tax-free for you. So that I would say is the difference between the two. This kind of just going to be always dependent upon what the client their budget is, and then again, what's going to be suitable for them.
Okay, so just to recap, term insurance does not have cash value.
No cash value.
But the permanent insurance, which is the whole life and universal does.
Yes.
Good information, good information. And so also, what about insurance through work? I saw you post on Facebook, a client says, hey, I have insurance through my job. You said red flag.
Red flag.
I thought that was hilarious. Can you speak on that?
Yeah. The reality is that with work insurance, you don't own that insurance. That's why you don't have a contract. You know, they just give you a little certificate saying that there's insurance, but the job owns it. And why that is important is because, number one, you can't make any changes to it. If you need more insurance, it's generally a group type of insurance. And if you were to leave your job, it doesn't go with you. And so being that insurance is predicated on your age and health, and let's say life happens and you get fired or, something of that nature, then you no longer have insurance, right? And then if you have a health challenge, then again, if you happen to have to take an absence of leave, then again, you're no longer covered. I actually know of a client who passed away. He had only work insurance. And of course, most people don't read through the policies, it's 50,000 pages to it. But because of the type of insurance that he had to, in order for the beneficiary to receive the payout for the life insurance, he actually had to pass away while on the job. He passed away while en route home.
Wow.
And so his wife wasn't able to collect or retrieve any of that money. So work insurance, I always tell people to have an independent policy outside of that you own, that you can control.
That's good information. That's so unfortunate for that wife. That's terrible. Last question would be, is when you think of face amount, you think 100,000, 250, $500,000. What is that predicated upon? Like, what determines how much insurance you need, how much you can get approved for? How is that? Speak to that.
Great question. So professionally, we're always taught that every client or insured should have at least 7 to 10 times of whatever their annual income is, because again, it is an income replacement. So, but that always going to vary based on if you, like myself, have a younger child, how long you want that child to be financially protected. So in my case, I have a small 3-year-old. If something were to happen to me within, her life, if you will, I would want her to be financially taken care of at least until the age 25 once she's out of college. So whatever my annual income is, I will times that by 22. Okay. As opposed to most people, we get 100,000, 200, but that's not going to be enough. And depending on your lifestyle, that money's going to run out. So if it costs 50,000 for my lifestyle, and to take care of my child, then that money's only going to last for 2 years. Right. So that's why it's kind of generated based on your actual income.
Oh, that's good information. I didn't know that either. I know I said last question, but I have one more. Does it determine, like, let's say you're a pilot or you ride motorcycles, is all that taken into account when you're getting life insurance?
Absolutely. You all, life insurance, these are companies, life insurance has been around for over 200 plus years, okay? That's the reality. And they pay out, all right? So because of that, they want to know, your medical background. They want to know, are you involved in any life hazardous things like, bungee jumping? Doesn't mean that you won't necessarily get declined, but, the actual premium and all of those things will, have an impact on with that. Your lifestyle, those are lifestyle questions. So yeah, they look into if you had any type of DUIs in the past 5 years. Did you file bankruptcy? Different things like, are you trying to get more insurance than you are worth while you are alive? So are you worth more dead than you are alive? They want to know about, your net worth. They want to know all of these things because it's a serious thing. It's a real thing. Again, these companies do pay out. So, the client, and they go through that whole underwriting process. But again, a lot of people will be surprised they can get approved for these policies. And you don't have to make a lot of money or even, have a lot of money to put into these policies just so that you can, be able to have the proper coverage. But yeah, they go very in depth.
So when you purchase a policy, you're the policy owner. Can the same person who purchased a policy be the beneficiary?
Great question.
If I am purchasing for my husband, can I also be the beneficiary to collect?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The insurance company want to know that there is some type of insurable interest, right? So husband and wife, that's an insurable interest because, financially you all make decisions together. You are one or the other or both relying on each other's income. So there's some insurable interest. The same when it comes to your children. So as a child, I have insurance on my parents. There's insurable interest there because I help take care of them, right? So, and I'm also the beneficiary. So absolutely, you can be the beneficiary while being the owner on the policy.
Good information. Good information.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for taking the time to talk to the Friends Plan today. Some very valuable information. I'll be sure to link her information, guys, for free quote, policy reviews, just a generalized personal conversation. I'll be sure to give, her contact information. And again, I want you to like this episode, comment anything you want to see on the channel. Be sure to subscribe, and thank you so much for tuning in. Bye, gang.